Hi guys, welcome to the fourth video in my series of concept design through sketching. This time we'll be covering architectural trees. A basic architectural tree on elevation can be created by using the simple lollipop approach, drawing rough guidelines with a foliage to stem ratio of either half-half or 2/3, 1/3. The trunk is a combination of quick straight lines drawn in segments and always tapering towards the ends. Try and visualize just before you start drawing what this will look like. A good recipe to use is to make sort of branching V's. Start with a main trunk and then just branch out smaller ones, adding a V every time. Using the continuous M line or the cloud line, which is covered in my previous tutorial, follow the rough guidelines all the way around. Turn the paper if this is easier for you. Then just keep layering the tree until you're satisfied. Add some depth by introducing more foliage on the one side to give the impression that the tree has volume or sort of three-dimensional value. You can add some free-floating individual leaves or perhaps one or two lone branches just to add a touch of detail or some sense of realism, which is not always what you want, but in this case I thought it would look cool. So this would then be considered the sort of tree template that I base most of my trees on. And the next tree, the organic tree, is essentially the same thing, except the trunk flares out a lot more and the foliage is more of a crown rather than a ball. When doing the branches, try and use a sort of flick or horsetail type of line, as this seems to be quite effective. You can vary your trees using the same approach to the trunk, but instead of using a line type for the foliage, dot down individual leaves, but try and stick to a realistic pattern, if that makes any sense. Right, next up we'll do some conifers. Excuse the blurry focus, it will come right in a second. So with these trees, and all the trees really, first do some rough setting out. Determine where the trunk should come and what size they should be. After that, start working on the foliage. Now with conifers, the branches tend to grow straight out, almost parallel to the ground, so keep your line work in this direction. There are no rules here, so the best advice I suppose would be just to experiment with different techniques. Loosen up your pencil strokes, play around with some hatching until you're satisfied. As long as the general shape is consistent with that of a conifer, you're probably good to go. Even the messiest of lines tend to produce good results. So a wild olive, or representation of a wild olive, is not something I would generally draw, especially not in architectural applications. But the lesson I want to teach here is if you can identify the essential shape of the tree as a whole, plus break down and simplify the foliage into a line type, the results are generally quite successful, and it's just a fun exercise to do to challenge yourself. Finally, an arrangement of trees is mostly used to frame your design and to add context, of course. Two successful ways of doing this is by using positively rendered arrangement of trees where the trunks and foliage are dark, or by drawing the background around the building dark with the trunks and the foliage left white. These work well for small conceptual elevations and sections. Right folks, I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.